Hello again. We are having a little bit of some connection issues, but that's okay. My mother came in as a guest, but that's all right. We're waiting actually for Uncommon Dolls, and you will notice I am sweating. It is very, very, very hot here. We're just going through this heat wave where I'm at. So we're going to try it again. Oh, husband, how are you? Hello, hello, hello. If you joined and if I was unable to wave back, I apologize. It's really, I think Instagram, once when you have two come in, hi, how are you?
Hello.
How are you?
We're good. How are you?
Hi, Cynthia, hello. I'm so glad to see you ladies today. Thank you for joining. Hello, mother. So we have been talking about, yes, hi, Nina. We've been talking about you guys as far as your donuts that you have. And I said we're going to be talking about food, as many could see from the flyer. Hi, how are you, everyone who's joining? And then I'm putting out your card here. How are you guys doing this Saturday?
We're good.
We're good.
You're good?
I'm Hannah. I'm the admin, creator of Uncommon Dolls. This is my
Okay.
Paula. Nina's her doll, and she also created the persona of Ethan.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I guess when you said that, like you're almost putting me right into my questions. Is your account, Uncommon Dolls, is this a joint account?
It's just mine. She's visiting, and when she's over, she does help out posing or taking some pictures. But
Okay.
it's mostly on me.
Yep. It's just her baby.
Now, is the Drew account also yours?
That is my mother's. Drew and Emma is my mom.
Oh, okay. And my mom was just on here a little earlier. While we were trying to get all the kinks out, my mother was on here as well. Okay, so I noticed that I noticed that there was the Drew account and then the Uncommon Dolls. And then do you have an account as well?
I used to. I was Nebula Dolls, but I haven't posted on Instagram in a very long time. I honestly can't even remember my full username. It's been a couple of years.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Well, I thank you ladies for joining today. I am a huge fan of your page, or I should say pages, as far as when you guys all join together. I enjoy just the way that you use your lights for your photography, the brightness of your pictures. Anyone who's ever been on your account, I'm gonna scoot back a little bit, would be able to see how you use yellow. And I want to get into those questions as far as your use of yellow and the love of the banana. I think it's like very interesting points, and it really does theme your whole setup and your page. So is this you ladies' first live?
Yes.
Yes.
I get so excited. I told my husband I'm going to get like some confetti and stuff and shoot it out every time it's someone's first live. So, woo, it's your first live. And I'm so excited that you're doing this with me. So thank you, ladies, very much. I feel honored that you are doing this with me today. What is your background as a writer?
Oh boy, how do I even begin that? Help. Oh goodness. We've been writing together for like, what, 8 years now?
Yeah.
We've been writing Star Wars stories of all things.
Wow.
Yeah,
We're very big fans of Star Wars, so this household loves Star Wars.
we actually met playing the Star Wars The Old Republic game back in 2013. So we've
Okay.
been friends since early 2013. We've been writing, I think, since towards the end of 13. We've been writing our own original characters in that universe. We've written, gosh, how many pages? Like,
It's probably over 1,000 by now.
yeah.
Wow. Is this something that you guys are going to publish?
We hope to. It definitely needs a lot of polish. I mean, some of it was written 8 years ago. Needs some work, but yeah, we hope to. We're working on it.
Okay, because it could end up becoming quite easily a screen, well, like a script for screen. So I would love to be able to see that, because as we can tell, Star Wars is not going to go out of fashion anytime soon. They always say this is the last one, this is the last one, then they bring a new one. And that new one happens to like fill in the gaps from previous ones. So I'm pretty certain that whatever you have is going to answer some more questions for us and be able to just explore that universe more. So I would love to see what you guys have as far as book wise and, you know, movie wise. So I say keep on doing it.
We got lots.
And the thing is, when it comes to fantasy, and it still pertains to storyline, when it comes to fantasy, you're able to explore this whole universe of what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that is so much more than even what we get to do with our, I mean, with a common storyline. Because a common storyline set on Earth, you can, you know, you have all these different restrictions and limitations, but once we go to space, you can do anything, you know, it's sci-fi. So the world is really just whatever you create. So I really do, I like what you've done with that as far as, you know, conceptually. And I do hope that it goes far for you girls. Because that sounds nice. It sounds very nice. Like I said, we're Star Wars house. We're May the 4th be with you. I've loved Star Wars since I was growing up. My mother watched it around me. My husband, he was growing up, they watched it. Now we have our own kids and they watch it. So we're Star Wars, Star Trek all the way.
We like Star Trek too.
Oh my goodness. I love Star Trek. I grew up with the Next Generation. And I grew up with the, which one was it? Deep Space Nine. Used to see the reruns of like the very first one, the original one. It was just okay. But now having my kids, I don't know why, but it's like, I love it. Like we watched the 1968 ones. We watch it like it's the first time it ever came out. And it's always at 8 o'clock. I don't know if it shows where you're at, but here it shows at 8 o'clock every day. So that's like the time, no matter what we're doing, we stop and are to sit down and watch it for that 1 hour like it's the first time it ever came out. But it, like I said, it's a world that of complete possibilities. And when you look at Star Wars and you look at Star Trek and you look at the technology we have now and how it just opened up the door for what we have today. Because a lot of the things that they had then, technology wasn't there at that time. So I enjoy being able to look at that and see what we have now and be like, wow, we do have an Alexa. They didn't have that then, but they they wrote that in there. So I look forward for huh?
It's amazing too how much Star Trek really predicted the technology that we have now. Because,
Yes.
I mean, you even look at the pad and Star Trek, and you look at like the iPads today, and it's just amazing how much we've gone in that direction of what we saw on TV.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And we need more of us as far as females involved in sci-fi so we can have our voice in it, because I think that it has been male dominated. And so it's not anything against guys at all, but I love being able to hear us as females, you know, really being able to get into that world and explore it and just like smash it out. So I do look forward to whenever you guys get your works published, and you'll know when the right time is. And I'll be able to say, hey, they did their first live with me. So I do look forward to that. You already gave me your background as well, actually, what is your background as a writer? Have you been writing since you were young, or did your writing just kind of spark when the two of you met?
I used to write tiny little short stories as a kid, actually. I can't name off exactly what they were about or nothing, but I did jot around some stuff, and as a teenager it started hitting more. I started writing more stuff, and then when I met her, it was like, okay, I'm just writing a lot now. This is fun. This is good. So it's always been in me a little bit, but it's really ramped up over the years.
Same for me. I was always writing as a kid. I was always either reading a book or carrying around a notepad somewhere writing down story ideas. It was the same background for me largely. I was into writing short stories. I also used to dabble in poetry a bit during childhood and teen years, but definitely writing kicked into the gear a lot more when we started collaborating and coming up with things together. So it's amazing how much you can progress and learn and come up with all sorts of new ideas and connections when you have somebody to collaborate and bounce all that stuff with.
We bounce ideas off each other all the time. We have a blast. We're always coming up with new stuff. Oh, hey, what if we add this onto your idea? What if we do this? What if we do this? And it actually makes it so much more easier to write, being kind of a tag team on it.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
I agree. I fully agree with you. For me, I know like I've been just like with you guys writing since I was a kid, writing in poetry and short story. But as far as like being able to bounce ideas, I generally bounce ideas with my husband, and we kind of, form these stories that once when we get done talking about it, it feels like it was already written. I don't know if that's true for you guys, but like you'll talk about it and you're like, you've talked about it in such great detail as if it's like already there. And then you're like, oh, now I got to really type it up or write it. But you created this whole world. And it's very, very easy, to find someone and be able to build this world. But it is important, I do want to put as a note, to have someone that you trust. Because as I can tell, you guys have a bond and you're able to trust each other, and things that you say just stay between you guys. But I have seen, and I mean, we've all heard of it where someone bounced an idea with someone and it seems like it's going very well, and then the other person takes that idea and runs with it. Yeah. So make sure that if you do decide to bounce ideas with someone and create a storyline, that it's someone that you trust. And it doesn't have to be your spouse. It doesn't have to, it could be someone that you meet right here on Instagram. But make sure that it's someone that you do trust, so that your ideas stay confidential and you guys are building this world together. It doesn't go outside of that. Because I think it's so important. Like, I'm huge on confidentiality. Anytime someone sends me an idea or concept that they're doing, or even like a photo, and they're like, what do you think about this? That just stays between me and that person. Because I think it's so horrible. I really do. I think it's so horrible whenever someone takes an idea and runs with it. It really does destroy the bond of trust, and it can really mess you up as far as a writer and being able to generate new ideas. So make sure it's someone that you trust. That would be my biggest disclaimer. But I do think that it is awesome that you ladies are working together and really building up this beautiful world. Now, my other question does have to deal directly with storyline content. What made you guys decide to do storyline content versus just taking snapshots of your dolls and posting?
It feels like it has more depth, more life, to give characters, personalities, not just, everybody has their own thing. If you just want to take fashion shots of your dolls, that's totally fine. Everybody has their own vibe. But I personally like to make it a continuation, bit of a diary, more or less, and just keep growing a bond with characters. I love characters so much. I have for many years. I love making them. I've made lots. We've made lots. But yeah, it feels more rich to have it that way.
I agree.
I'm just making some notes for myself, and I always encourage everybody to make your notes. We're all learning together.
Yeah, I've always greatly enjoyed, I'd say my favorite part of the creative process is the characters, getting to know them as people. And it's hard to put into words and not sound crazy explaining it to people sometimes, but it feels like sometimes when you get to know that character enough, they take on a life of their own. And it's not always you telling them, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Sometimes they tell you, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. It can come through playing with the Barbies. It can come through just starting to really write them with characters that you're doing in books. But it's exciting to see the journey that they take you on, because sometimes you got your own expectations for who they're going to be, and they do a 360 on you and give you something else. But it's wonderful when you get to know who they are for who they are.
I like that. Really just allowing yourself to be open to your characters being who they are. And I think that sometimes as writers and as admin, we can get kind of controlling with our characters because we have a direction that we want them to go in. And like you said, they take on their own life. And so if they have characteristics that are opposite of who we are, although internally we each bond with our characters because it's a little snippet of ourselves. But if they're just like overly exaggerately opposite of you, you can kind of want to tone it down to the point where you muffle the voice of your of your doll, the voice of your character. And that's true with when you're writing a book, if you're writing a screenplay, if you're writing for your storyline for your Instagram. You want to make sure, like you said, allow your characters to journey, go with them on that journey. I like that. And it doesn't, anything you say during this live will not sound crazy. Okay. At all. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, no, it's going to sound a little weird. There is no weirdness. We're all learning together on how to be able to write our characters. And I'm thankful that you guys said yes, because I love how, one, your makeovers, which I'm going to get to that, but the makeovers are beautiful. Do you guys work on that together?
It's me. Yes, sir.
That's you. Okay, with the customizations. Oh my God. You show up before and after, and then I'll grab like one of my dolls and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look the same at all. You do great customizations. Now, how long does it take you on that?
When you're having so much fun, you don't really keep track of time. But I'd say for like rerouting a doll, probably a solid day. I've got it down to about that long if I want it to be. It could take, 2 or 3 days maybe if I take a lot of breaks or something, but about a day I can knock them out of there.
That's really, really good. Now, with the hairstyle that Mia just got maybe about a month ago, was that a fresh reroute?
It is a fresh.
Because her hair did look different, and I was like, so you did a fresh reroute? Wow, I was like, maybe you put like a wig on there real quick, because you had it done so quick. I was like, that couldn't be like a whole reroute. You did a whole reroute. Wow.
It's literally just so she could have a higher quality nylon hair. But yeah, it's a fresh reroute.
And you can tell it was like way, it looked like she went to the salon. It was way more shinier, and the length was a little bit different. I was like, okay, I like it. So yeah, I love the customizations that you have on your page. If you haven't seen it, go to Uncommon Dolls and you'll be able to see all the different befores and afters. And they look great. Now, do you do those for commission as well?
Currently, no.
Okay.
I think about it, but it's unless like someone like her is like here with me, and it's a lot easier to explain what do you want exactly, because some collectors can be very fussy about what they want. I might not, my self-taught rerouting might not do exactly what they want. I mean, I might tend to reroute it a little on the thinner side for some people, but that's just how I like it. But it's a lot easier. Like, I will do commissions for her because she's right here and I know her well and everything. And you're not too fussy on me sometimes.
I honestly understand it. My mother was a seamstress for many, many, many years, seamstress and designer. And I completely understand what you're saying as far as fussy customers. That's why I'm not sewing right now, because you have some people who will say, I want this particular style or this particular fashion, and you make it. Or in your case, you would do the reroute and they come and they go, that's not what I asked for. I thought it was going to look like this. So it can get very tiresome trying to find that really nice sweet spot as far as pleasing people. But I do enjoy the work that you do, regardless if you do it for commission or not. I think it looks glamorous. If anything, it makes it even more unique that you choose to do it just for who you know. And like I said, I understand. I completely understand. How did you guys get involved in the doll community?
I played with Barbies like my whole life. I think you played with them as a kid too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was just getting some Barbie dolls back out while she was visiting one time, and then we kind of started playing with them. Like, hey, this is fun. This is a way to just make characters and have some stories and have a good time. So it was on one of her visits that my like really Barbie resurgence came back up, and I decided to start trying to reroute to sell after I gained that skill. And my mom went, hey, I found some doll people on Instagram. Maybe you should make an account on there and advertise, So I checked out Instagram and I'm like, wow, cool. All these other people love Barbie. Like, awesome.
Yes.
It's like what you're talking about, that trip where we took out the dolls. It started with taking out the dolls and like, which one could look like our Star Wars characters? Like that was the original. I also have a collection of dolls that she's done that are made to look like the characters from our writing. So I have a lot of those characters in doll form as well. Some of them did appear on my Instagram back when I was posting. So that was like
Okay.
how we got started. Then it branched out into all these different dolls and makeovers and like our own character universe and doll form.
In the Barbie world.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love it. I've always played with dolls. In fact, because I'm an only child, so that was really my my everything. That was just my time alone. And then whenever my friends and I would get together, I think I had only one friend that didn't play Barbies. Pretty much everyone else played Barbies. My best friend was a Barbie head as well. So that's what we did. That's how we got along. And sometimes we didn't always get along, my best friend and I, but even when we didn't, and my mom's on here, she can contest to that. Even when we weren't getting along, it would still be like, okay, we're going to hook up on Friday, right? And then we would play Barbies. And then I had actually stored mine, wasn't even thinking about them. I still went to the toy aisle every time I went to the store, but just, I guess, you just kind of felt like, okay, this isn't really appropriate. I'm a grown up. I'm not going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Then my kids, my girls, they wanted to get into Barbies and doing the Barbie fashion, and they just kept tapping about it. And I was like, okay, I need to, break down and bond with my girls and, explore that world some more. And then lo and behold, here we are right now. So I fully agree with you. It's something that we should never stop doing. And I think that it's great that you guys didn't, and that regardless of who was around and what they thought, you still did what was important to you, because play is important. We can't just work all the time and be so serious minded that we end up losing out on ourselves.
Unfortunately,
So
there's stigma around adults playing with toys, and it's sad because technically and scientifically, toys are good for adults to play with. It relieves stress, it promotes creativity. I never desired to stop playing with my Barbies because when I was young, I developed them into like characters, and they had their own story even back then. Preston, tell you,
yes.
I've had him for 21 years of my life.
Wow.
He's that old.
Yes. Yes. I didn't know that you had him that long, but I mean, of course, we could tell he's an older doll because of the way that his body
And we
is.
love him.
Wow. A lot of my dolls are gone because we had an incident with some mice. They're gone. But I know two that I had kept, I ended up giving to my oldest daughter. That was prior to joining the Dollstagram community. And I don't regret it because she has them and she does great with them. But I think it's really special whenever you can keep your childhood dolls and have that bond with them still. Yeah. Now, do you still have your childhood dolls too?
I have some of them. I don't have all of them, unfortunately. There's some that I thought I had kept, but I've been looking around and can't find them. They might have gotten donated a couple of years back, but yeah, I still have some of them. Like original Ethan was my favorite childhood Ken doll before he got the doll change. That's my childhood.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I like that. And I love how you ladies are able to share your dolls, and I think that's beautiful. That is. How did you come about creating the character Mia?
This is a fun story. She's the Rockers drummer doll. I felt like rerouting her. I'm like, she's pretty. I'd like to make her my own doll. I had no intent of what personality she was going to have whatsoever. I freshly rerouted her and finished her, and she was visiting me at the time then too. So I picked her up and we kind of started to play with her. And you had original Ethan, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Then you were playing with him. So you're like, hey, who are you? How are you doing? And I'm like, what's the most random thing I can think of right now to say back to him, just to be funny. So I said, because she was like a brand new doll. I'm like, let's make her naive and kind of like new to this world. Let's go, what is life? What is banana? And that's how this entire banana thing started, just by saying one random word.
Wow. And that was my question. or from, that we were going to get to a little later, was how did this whole thing happen with the theme of banana? I like that.
Bananas and yellow, and yeah, so we started playing with her more, and it's like Ethan like gave her banana. Here's a banana, and she's like, "This is great. I love this. It's the best thing ever."
I like that. And now she has this whole, I mean, like literally, when you look at it, it's so wonderful. Now, are you involved in interior decorating?
No.
Because it's so wonderful how you can place this yellow and the bananas and the different pops of colors and the contrast. It's like, wow.
Thank you.
So I just thought maybe, I was like, she must be involved with interior decorating or something of that
I'm
nature.
not, but thank you.
Well, it looks great. It looks great. You do very, very good as far as placing all the colors in. And now we have an understanding of where banana comes from as far as the theme. And I'm going to remember that anytime whenever I see her talk about bananas or anything of that nature.
We use the word bananas so much now. Because like in Mia talk, the word banana can also mean like good or great or something like that. So if we see something that's cool or something, we'll go, "That's banana." Like, that's so banana.
Or like one of Ethan's things is to say dope a lot. So like we combine the two, and
Just
all
for
the time
fun.
when he finds something awesome, he's like, "That's so dope, banana."
Wasn't sure how people would feel about the word dope in the captions or nothing, but
I know, but I like it. I like it. Now, they also have a daughter. Now, how do I pronounce her name? Is it Lucia
Lucia.
or Lucia? Lucia. Okay. Now, Lucia, I enjoyed her whole pregnancy journey. And at the same time, I was pregnant myself. So it was nice being able to see her going through her journey as well. Now, was this based off of like a personal pregnancy journey, or just you just went with it?
The funny thing is, me and Ethan are like nothing like us. We're both single. We don't have any kids. We don't have no boyfriends or nothing. But we kind of felt like they wouldn't even have a kid until maybe like a couple years from now, possibly. We were gonna just leave them as they were for a long time. And last summer on her visit, I kind of got in my head one day, and I kind of went, I know we talked about this before, but I kind of feel like they could have a kid sooner.
And I literally just looked at her and I literally just started thinking that too.
Well, I think it was the perfect time. I really, really do. It fits so well as far as, to me, how caring that they are and nurturing that they are as characters, that they would have Lucia as that, as that bond that continues to connect them. So I enjoy being able to, like I said, I enjoyed their pregnancy journey. I enjoyed being able to see them as parents, and also being able to see them because before Lucia, they had Wolf, and they still have Wolf, which I think was such an interesting name because it's just so. What do dogs do? They wolf. So I just loved how literal it was. His name is. So how did we come about this name with Wolf?
I kind of just went with my little childhood tradition of naming my plush animals obvious names. Like I had a plush, I have two childhood plush that were like the favorite. One is a Clifford, the big red dog. I just kept the original name. One was a boxer dog, and I just named him Boxer. I had a white cat, and I just went with White Cat. And just stuff like that with my stuffed animals. So with Wolf, I was trying to think, okay, do I want to go with something more creative, or do I want to go with something that's kind of me? And I just went Wolf.
I like it. I like it. Very literal, very Wolf. And but yet, like I said, it's that literarity that also creates like that pun, because what do dogs do? They woof. So I love it. I love it very much. Now, what about Uncle Preston?
For his,
Like, how did he come about?
oh goodness, he's been around since, well, I was like 6 years old when I received him. His character might have kind of developed more later as like I developed, and I, had that skill to do that later. But Yeah, I got him for Christmas, and I played with him lots. He was a favorite for a long time. And then, I don't know, one day I decided he likes to cook. I decided that. And I decided he's a morning person. He's always cheery. He's fun to be around. So he's always chipper and happy and good. It's just, he's always stayed that way just because it's so much fun and nostalgic. So he's always happy. And it can be exhausting, but he's always happy.
And he is. He brings such a nice positive energy into your storyline. And your storyline already is energized with a positive vibe. But then having him in there is just, I don't know, it's just like that added piece of an uncle that we all would like, or that someone may have already. But if you don't have an uncle like that, he has that embracing vibe about him that makes you go, wow, I wish I had an uncle like that. Someone that wants to go on road trips and who's there to help, and just, he's just like that support that just came out of nowhere almost. but he's there to help anytime. And he's always, like you said, just so chipper and so happy. So I really do. I enjoy his character and how you've formed him and really just kept him as the way that you had portrayed him from your youth.
I couldn't see him any
I
other way.
do. And I like the fact that you didn't rebody him, quite honestly. I like that he has, and I think that for me, because I'm past your age. I'm not too much past your age, but I'm past your age. So for me, whenever I see the vintage body, it puts me back into my childhood. And it takes me back to the commercials and the advertisements that we had for our Barbies and Ken. And it was always very cheerful kind of advertisement. And it made you want to go out there and go get your Barbie or your Ken. So when I see him, that's what he reminds me of.
That's awesome. He's Mr. Bendy Legs. Mr. Bendy Knee. Yeah, he's very nostalgic.
I call those like the click, click legs, a click, click.
His legs might still be trying to fall out from his hips, but we're going to keep him on his body anyway. He's got like a little string keeping him on.
Oh goodness. But I'm pretty sure that because you're already customizing them, so I'm pretty certain that you'll probably figure out some way to keep everything together. If not, I can't really think of her name off the top of my head, but there is someone who's on here, paranormal. And she had a situation where she said her doll's hips, like the hips were coming apart, or the legs were coming apart from the hips. And so she was able to take it apart and then put everything back together again. So you may be able to talk to her as well, as far as how to still keep him on his original body.
Yeah, he's had his legs have come off before a few times. Especially with some more.
I'll message her and ask her, and then maybe you guys can connect on how to do that, because I don't know how to do it, but I can kind of point you in the right direction so he can keep his body. we want him to keep his body. Like I said, I have very good memories from that time when I was a kid and I see him. So what made you ladies get into photography?
I've also been dabbling in that for a while too. I enjoy that. I used to take pictures of Breyer horse models for a little while, and I never had the setups back then to really do Barbie pictures, but after seeing Instagram, it's like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, I've dabbled in that for a long time. I used to even stronger. I used to videotape more than taking pictures. I had a couple childhood friends who were hams. They like being in front of a camera and goofing off. So I'd record them a lot. I'd take lots of pictures. So it's something else that I've always kind of done for a long time, and it's just more so now.
For me, I used to be into doing nature photography, usually when I would be visiting here. I would just go out, on walks, take pictures of the flowers, or if we were going on day trips, just taking pictures of whatever pretty landscapes we were looking at. And then when she got into doing Barbie photography, I was like, well, that looks like fun, so I want to dabble in some of that too. So started doing some of my own stuff with that. And then when I would be here and we'd be doing all the photo shoots, getting lots of different pictures, doing that.
And we go outside and do it too, and we get some looks. But if there's any comments towards us, so far they've like always been positive. They're like, "Oh, cool. What are you doing?" And "Oh, that looks like fun." And it's a good experience. But yeah, she helps me with posing and stuff, and so she's shorter than me. She doesn't have to contract as far as my limbs have to crunch up sometimes to do things.
It's like we don't look like it sitting down, but I mean, I'm 5'4" and she's 5'9", so we got a height difference.
Oh
My
wow,
chair's just lower.
that is quite a height difference. I don't even want to say how short I am because I'm actually shorter than you. I'm shorter than all three. Well, between the three of us, I'm the shortest. But I really do like the factor being that you guys are able to use your height in order to work together. Like I said, I love the pairing that you ladies are doing and how you're able to work together with the posing and just finding out what your strengths are and working together. So once again, just to anyone who's watching or you watch this on rewind, just know that if you do work with someone, play with each other's strengths. Find out what the other person is strong at and be willing to work together, or in this case, play together. So, and don't be afraid to take outdoor photos. I've taken some outdoor photos. Honestly, when you do outdoor photos, they're great because you don't have to do all this lights and setup here and all this other stuff. You can just really work with the natural light. And since you were already doing nature photography, which I imagine was like a bonus and a strength in it, you kind of like know like the time of day and how much shade that you want. So it all worked out as far as being able to do the outdoor photography with the dolls as well. So that's perfect. That is so perfect. Now, one of my other questions when we're talking about photography and we're talking about script writing, do you script ahead? Do you guys create this dialogue ahead of time, like writing it down, or do you just kind of go with it and take your photos?
Most of the time it's scripted, but sometimes it's just on the fly, like in the moment, like this feels right now kind of thing. But it can be scripted out ahead of time, usually, because it's like, you want to think of how to keep your story going, fill it, and you just keep it running. But it's the unscripted parts are the most fun ones when they happen. So I try to have more of those for sure.
Yep. It's like sometimes we'll come up with ideas for, captions or even photo shoots, just sitting down talking, just be like, hey, what if we did this or this? But most of the time try to have an idea of like, okay, what do we want to go for with the photo shoot? What general tone do we want to do for the messaging in the post or the mood the characters are in? So we'll try to have that setup base, and having that organization, sometimes you will come up with something later just to add into what you've already got going on.
I agree. I fully agree. Where do you get your storylines from? It was just a pause and a look at each other.
It's all character driven.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do we want to see them do? How are their daily lives going? What new neighbors are coming in town? Just it's just like kind of a diary, more or less, of Mia's little life.
Yeah.
I'm baking stuff, and I enjoy very much that Mia's just main goal is she always wants to help other dolls. That's her main goal. She always wants to help them feel better, and she's like, "There's no better way of doing that than some banana donuts."
And I do have some of your donuts right here. My Minnie's over here holding it.
Thank you so much for.
And these are, I'm going to be getting some more of your donuts. And I want some of your smoothies that you've been having.
I'm working on lots of new stuff. And it's exciting.
These are empty of cakes. I mean, you have a whole bakery. There's a whole bakery back there. These are so detailed. And I've showed these before as far as they just literally look like miniature human donuts. They really, really do. Very, very delicious. Now, do you bake in your, like, do either of you ladies bake in your real life?
Nope.
My baking is usually just taking a bagged cake mix and I don't really have much baking experience either. I probably only made something from scratch baking wise once or twice in my life. She doesn't cook or bake, so but it's amazing just watching her. I've gotten the opportunity to see some of the processes and the different pieces here, and it's just amazing how she takes just this little piece of clay and turns it into something that, like, I look at it and even though it's clay, I want to eat it.
I know.
I may not bake real food, but I like crafting stuff, so I might make fake food so my dolls can eat it. I love food themed items too. I mean, banana shirt right now, but
I love it. I love it. If you guys have joined, I want to tell you thank you. We're enjoying our conversation, so I'm not able to wave back, but I do want to tell you, ladies, and everyone, and all you guys who are joining, thank you very much. And we'll get to any questions that you have at the end, because I did see that someone had a question on there. Do either of you have a mini inside of your community?
a mini me?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay.
We're such introverts. Everybody, if you want your own mini me, that's awesome. You do you. We're just introverts. We'd rather write characters that aren't us. We have more fun just going with, finding different sporadic personalities because, I don't know, we usually think ourselves as pretty boring most of the time.
Oh, goodness. I think that's how introverts are, because I myself am an introvert, like really literally doing the live and reaching out to you and talking to you. It's me going outside of who I am, because like I told you, I'm an only child, so I just really have always just fed off of my own energy. And that's what we do as introverts. We feed off of our own energy, and that's how we're able to create these imaginative worlds and different universes off of being by ourselves. So I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. But I was very curious to know, out of all the different characters that you developed, if any of them were, symbolic of you.
Of course, every character that you make has a piece of you in it already. It's like,
yes.
That's good for me. I mean, I got a couple gingers around and I'm good.
And if anything, sometimes the dolls have influenced us. Like, let's say with Nina, you might know, like her big thing is fashion and pink and all that. That's what drives her. And like me, pink was like my least favorite color. I wasn't into fashion at all. And then I made her personality. Just I remember the initial idea was like, let's just go with something that I wouldn't normally do, and that was fashion and pink. And then playing with her, having that association, like I found I started to really like pink, and I started getting more into fashion. So like now I'm into that stuff. I'm when I go shopping, I'm like, oh, I like that. That's pink. And like a couple of years ago, I would never, but now it's pink almost everything for me.
I wasn't
I
yellow.
love it. Really?
Now because of Mia and how happy and like cheery she is with yellow, I'm like, that makes me happy and cheery with yellow. I have banana string lights over my window. I got a banana shirt on. My bed is yellow. I have a yellow backpack.
Yeah.
I just anything I can find yellow. I'm like, this makes me happy now because like Mia and Mia likes yellow, so I like yellow.
I love it. And so that's very true. Our dolls can influence us, just as much as we influence our dolls, and, we carve out their story that they're telling us and feeding to us, especially if we have created a multi-dimensional character that's able to really form off of the pages that we write. Then we're also able to be influenced by them. I have some dolls that have influenced me as far as with confidence. I'm like, okay, if this character, Mama Catherine, can do this, then surely I can do this too. So it is very true that our characters do spark something inside of us as far as interest with colors that you never thought that you would have. So I think that's really interesting. I like that.
It gives you a new,
Someone said I have that too. Yes.
sorry, it gives you a new appreciation for items or things that you may not have liked before.
Yeah.
Because you go out of your box and think, let's make characters who aren't like me. They like other things. But then you see those other things and you're like, that makes me happy now. Because my character that I made likes it. And now I like that.
Yes. So I like that as a tip too for anybody, because that's really the beginning purpose of these lives, is to encourage each other as we write storylines and being able to develop these characters. How do we do it? So one of the things, if you have a character that you're wanting to develop, they just gave a huge tip as far as developing a character that is different from you, that has different interests in colors, for example, and a different interest as far as interests, such as fashion. And now all of a sudden, after developing this character, I don't know if it's so much as all of a sudden, but as you write the character, you'll suddenly feel this attraction towards different colors or different interests that you didn't think about. So allow your dolls to also influence you. And that's what's going to really help you to be able to even play with them more and develop storylines even more. So I'm glad that you brought that out as a point, as far as developing a character that is opposite of you.
Yeah.
What would you say are the pros and cons of story writing or storyline writing?
If you put too much pressure on yourself to say, oh, I want to post like every single day, but that mood of writing, that mindset's just not in you for that day or something. If you put too much pressure on yourself, it can be a downer. If you got days of writer blocks, are always a downer, but the pros are worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't always have to like post every day or anything, but the pros of seeing how everything comes together and what you make and taking joy in what you make is just wonderful.
Definitely, that she's pretty much said what I'm thinking is the main con is just, when you put too much weight on yourself, like, or especially like perfectionism, like I've gotta do this perfectly.
This line's not good enough.
Yeah. It's like sometimes, doing that with doll stuff or doing that with writing, you have to take a step back and remind yourself, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. There is no true definition of perfect. The whole point is to bring yourself joy, to express creativity. It doesn't have to be one way, whether that's, writing your grammar, your storyline skills, character level of development, like things like that will get better too as you grow and your skill, as you practice them. You learn along the journey, it gets better along the journey. So allowing yourself that grace to know it doesn't have to be perfect, just going with it and enjoying what you do.
The con is forgetting what the point is. The point is to have fun and enjoy yourself,
Yeah.
not you have to be perfect and write
Exactly.
perfectly all the time and every day, and you gotta keep it up right now. It's about enjoying it.
I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. And actually, I had this battle with myself today because when I had posted my reel, I think I've only done like 3 reels. And this was my 3rd one. And I had added in a video of Heidi with her skateboard. And I didn't like the video. We took it at a park, but I just didn't like the way that the environment looked. So I was really critical of how I did it. And I was like, I should have, really zoomed in on her more since you don't see the outside parameters. And I had to tell myself, put it out there anyways. It's not about trying to do it perfect. This is just your 3rd one. But if you don't put it out there now, then you won't put out the next one, and you won't put out the other one, and then you won't be able to really grow. And so I had to talk to myself to encourage myself to just go ahead and do it anyways. And I do believe that perfectionism, it's good on one hand as far as wanting to get the best quality out of yourself, but it can be very stifling on the other hand and can really feed into writer's block and feed into, not really fully developing our character the way that they deserve to be because we're trying to reach for something, like you said, just does not exist. And earlier you had said about how, you know, your character Preston has evolved from the time that you were 6. Well, what if you were trying to get, you know, this perfect idea of what an uncle should be? Then you wouldn't have allowed yourself to grow in that. So I fully agree with the information that you girls, you know, you ladies are giving right now, because it's very true. Don't try to go for the perfectionism. Enjoy yourself. Have fun.
If I let my perfectionism talk all the time, I never post anything. I can get super fussy, like really fussy, and she knows this. Because I'm looking at pictures I've taken, I'm like, she's got one hair out of place. Be like,
It's like, it goes to show that we're often our most harsh critic. Like, there are so many times where maybe I'll say something bad about myself, or she'll say something bad about herself, or something that we're doing creatively. That it's just like, you know, you don't notice. Maybe it's something with your appearance, or something in a line of story you wrote, or something in a doll photo that you're picking on. Just like, oh, you know, people are going to notice and judge this. When really the only person thinking that is you. Somebody might look at it and be like, wow, I love this photo, or I love this line of story. Where you're judging it, that might be, you know, oh wow, I aspire to write like this, or to take a photo like this. So, you know, we often are most harsh on ourselves, and perfectionism, it really can be a prison in ways, because that control is often, you know, to prevent the bad things from happening, whether that's like, you know, feeling of failure, or feeling of judgment, or not succeeding in what we set out to do. But like she said, if she never, you know, if she allowed the perfectionism to drive, she'd never post a photo. That controllingness can lead to the bad things happening that you were trying to prevent in the first place.
you can be miserable trying to be perfectionist all the time. But it's like, just step back, see what others see. Just they're enjoying this. They see the joy in it, and you're fussing over one hair.
This sounds like a conversation, because I really picked up my photography skills. Let me back up. I used to already do pictures. And like you said, I used to do pictures with my friends and take pictures outside, and just really did enjoy it, but nothing really serious. I wasn't into light composition or anything of that nature. It was just taking photos. And as this gift, as this hobby emerged, I end up consulting my husband, who does photography, as far as like, how do I do this? How do I do the setups, and so forth. And he coached me through it, and still, you know, talks to me about, you know, like how to do this and that. But he's always saying the same thing, as far as like, have fun, have fun. And so I may show him a picture, and I'm like, I don't like these, you know. And just like when you said about the hair, I was like, because once you take the picture, you can't go back. I already put everything up, so I can't really go back to take it, or to move the hair out the way. So now I'm frustrated about it. And he's like, just put it on there. And it was the same exact advice. You know, everybody's feeling the fun. They're loving the vibe that you're already putting out there. They feel the love that you have for your dolls. Go ahead and do it. So I think that it helps so much, just as much as it's good to have this tag team, as far as writing and bouncing off ideas on each other, generating ideas from each other. It's always good to have someone who can encourage you, so that you don't get imprisoned in your thoughts, feeling like, you know, it has to be perfect before I put it out there. It has to be magazine perfect. You know, it has to be something that you enjoy. It has to be something that you're having fun with. And that's what translates to everyone, no matter what culture that they're in, no matter what language that they speak. They feel the fun and the love that's in your photos. But you have to have somebody there that encourages you on that. Not all the time, but, you know, sometimes you really do, or else you just won't post it.
She's helped me a lot on that front. I can be extremely self-critical and perfectionist. She's like, this is great. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, I guess it is. If I stop nitpicking the one hair and the one that one thing's in the way back there. And
Now, are you using a regular camera? Are you using a phone camera when you take your photos?
I am using a phone. Occasionally on our biggest photo shoot is the fall festival. which we're already starting plans for because it's so big. But on occasion with something really extreme like that, my dad has a very nice camera, and he will actually take his camera out there and do some photos for us. Like, hey, I want this angle, I want this one. He's got a good eye for photography too, and he'll take his big fat camera out there, and it's fun. Sometimes I'll take a picture of him. I'll kneel down on the ground trying to. It's this big camera. You get the little dollar.
It's like us introverts aren't big on posting photos of ourselves, but I've honestly thought it would be pretty funny to like show people what we look like behind the scenes because it's interesting. I like to go around taking those behind
I
the
know.
scenes shots.
Yeah, we contort sometimes to get
You do.
around. Oh goodness, it's fun.
Because you have to get on your doll's level.
Mhm.
It is. It's so important. Now, with your dioramas, are you creating your dioramas from scratch? What's going on with the dioramas? Because they're so cool. And I didn't know if you were building them yourself or how you were doing that.
They are pretty much built by hand, aren't they?
Yep.
I mean, there's a very big storage rack for me and Ethan's house that my dad helped build and get started. But he came up with the idea, hey, let's take actual house paneling and use that for the walls. He's like, I think I know how to bolt it on to the sides of the storage unit. I'm like, cool. Go ahead and do it for me, please. Which he did. I did help a little bit, but they're made pretty much from, just materials that you normally wouldn't think of. Some materials mostly for humans, or there's a lot of foam board involved for walls, scrapbooking paper for texture and color and different things. And I mean, this flooring for the bakery is like some leftover linoleum we had from a kitchen reflooring, and just we're pretty good at just even found things free by the road and used it for Barbie stuff. We're definitely not rich or anything, so we're pretty handy with finding, thrift store things like, yeah, that's Barbie size, that's Barbie size. We can make that into something. No matter what store we go to, her, me, and my mom, we have got Barbie eyes. We're looking at every single item. Like, what can we turn that into for Barbie? We have so fun with it. But yeah, mostly handmade. I mean, I've got like a couple items from Etsy. There's some nice chairs that a guy from Ukraine made, furniture from Laos, and they're like extremely high quality and great. Like, I don't think I can take all that time to make all those chairs. I think I'm gonna buy some of those. But it's been a lot of this is a collaboration between me and my dad's help crafting things. Like, he made me his closet. He figured out even how to do that for me. I had the idea, but I'm like, hey, how can we execute this? And he came up with it and did it. And mom's super crafty too. So.
And I was going to ask you about your mom, as far as, because when you said that your mom has the Drew account. So is that something that you guys have collaborated with, or is that just her personal account?
It's her personal, but our dolls end up together quite a bit. I do still live with my parents, so I'm around her quite a bit. Drew and Emma's house is in like another room. We take pictures together quite a bit, and sometimes I'll help her on posing. She's like, "You're good at posing. Why don't you pose them for me?" I'm like, okay.
And the dressing.
And the dressing. But she excels at environments, like especially fall setup and displays and things. That's where she excels the most. And I like to think I excel at most at the people, because I try as hard as I can with dolls to make them not look like dolls. That's my entire goal, to make them look comfortable in whatever they're doing, instead of like this, twist it a little bit,
How'd you word it before? Like, you're in charge of personnel, and
I'm the personnel operator.
Environment.
I know what that is like. I do. I was having a conversation with my girls prior to this live about being in that position, as far as when my mother had her shop, and then I used to do all the, like whenever people come in, I would greet them, and then I would do all her paperwork and give them the receipt and be able to, find out how much was their subtotal and when their next appointment was. So yeah, I understand. But yeah, that's good. That's very, very good. You guys have that kind of relationship. I know, like for myself with dolls, that's something that my mother and I have always shared a journey with, and now I'm able to share that with my girls. She was one of the first ones who brought me my dolls when I got back into it after losing all my other ones. So being able to have the support of your mom and support of your dad, it is so important. And being able to also bring into the platform their creativity. Like I said, when it comes to the lights and setup, my husband and my sons do all of this. I don't. I just kind of like come in and sit, bring my Gloria here, and we go from there. But it's, it sparks their creativity, and it's allowing whatever their gifts and talents are in order to be able to shine. So it becomes a collaboration and makes it even more special. It goes beyond just your dolls, and now it's, something that you do as a unit.
And
So that's one of the things that I do like.
I can't take credit for Mom's idea was Spock Claus and chewed off the red-nosed Wookiee. That was her idea. And I love them now. But she actually wasn't into Barbie at all for a while as I was starting to get back into it. And then she started to see how much fun I was having with it. And then she went, that does kind of look like fun. She loves designing rooms and things too, so it was kind of right up her alley to do that. But yeah, she blames this whole Barbie thing on me, rightfully so, and so does she. Unintentionally brought them into it. I wasn't meaning to, but they're like, "Hey, that looks like fun. I want to join in."
There you go. And that's the thing about it, is just like you said earlier, being able to have fun with it. And I think that as a society, that's kind of what we have really veered away from. The older that we get, we veer away from fun, and everything is just, strictly about work, or if you're going to have fun, it has to be, quote unquote adult fun. And we take away the whole play aspect. And in doing that, we actually lose a part of ourselves. We don't really connect with that childhood self anymore. And then who we were as a child seems so distant to who we are as an adult. And it shouldn't be like that. They need to be joined together. We should still be able to reach and touch the little person that's inside of us, the little child that's inside of us, and feel that connection still, because that's where most of our warm feelings are, especially whenever you're dealing with stress and responsibilities and adult stuff. You want to be able to, go back and find that comfort zone. So I really do applaud you being able to stay connected to who you are and who you were then, and being able to draw others in, because that's what it's really about. It's being able to let people know it's okay to still have fun. It's a good thing to still play. We need to do that. What would be your advice for any viewers who are watching this right now, or who go back to watch this video? What would be your advice for them as far as how to build a storyline with multiple characters?
Find what makes your own character special. I mean, it's easy to look at Instagram and be inspired. Inspiration can have a good way or can have a bad way if you try to copy people, which is not the way to be inspired. But I wasn't expecting bananas and yellow. I mean, what makes your content special may be entirely not what you think will make it special, but just absolutely embrace whatever it ends up being.
That's one with me is finding what kind of values or messaging that you want to put into your story. Drawing on, something from your life, maybe, value that's important to you, or it can even take the form of, representing people like you that you don't commonly see represented. Like, I am so inspired by the people in the doll community that are representing everything, races, sexualities, genders that aren't normally seen, giving voice to that wonderful thing that we need to see more in the world, of voices that are marginalized. So finding your message, finding your truth, and finding your characters, and those things combined can lead you on a wonderful creative journey.
My page is quite simple in messaging. It's honestly, it's hopeful. It's like just hopefully to make people smile. It's just supposed to be cheery and, you know, a lot of the time lighthearted and PG pretty much, but it's wonderful. It's so much fun for me. It's a fun little cheery escape to this, you know, cute little yellow dot page. And they're just having a good time. But yeah, whatever, you know, start with a goal or aspiration, your basis of what, you know, you're seeking to accomplish. And the character and creativity can follow along and get to that aspiration.
And even the simple things can have a message, because it's like your page, I feel like, has a message in itself, and it's to, you know, find that joy, find that happiness and that kindness and that love of simple things. Just, you know, a donut can bring you so much joy. A banana can bring you so much joy.
I don't think I'm going to look at bananas the same after this conversation. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a real good thing. I just actually, it sounds very unfortunate, but I just really in recent times started eating bananas. And so now, you know, being able to have this conversation with you and the cheerfulness of it and how much joy that it brings you, it does encourage me to eat more bananas. So
For the win.
there you go. Team bananas. Now, I do have a question to ask you before we close. I recently saw a post and someone was trying to decide, well, I can't really say they were trying to decide, but they were incorporating a new doll into their community. And she herself, she's a white female. She was incorporating a doll that happened to be a black female. And she said that she kind of felt like this was her third mini-me, and that people had, you know, they may have an issue with it as far as the doll being a different, you know, race than her, a different color than her. Now, I personally don't think that it was an issue, because just like we've already shared, each one of your dolls has a portion of you in it. So it doesn't really matter what kind of dolls that you have in your community, they actually do share a part of who you are. And that was one of the things that I had shared with her. What is your take on that, as far as if someone does have a doll and they say, well, this doll represents me as a mini-me, but the doll doesn't look anything like them? Do you say, yes, go with it? Or are you like, well, you may want to reconsider it?
We're all human. That's what I say. And doesn't matter about color. If you feel that that doll is connected to you and vibes with you and it feels right, don't worry about what other people think. Just everybody's human. We're all, you know, we're all the same technically. We have the same, what you would call it, anatomy. So you're good at these terms, I'm not. But yeah, if that's how they feel, then they should absolutely go for it. I think it's everyone else has their own opinion, but that's their own opinion. The most important person to decide if that doll connects to them is the person who's trying to connect to the doll.
Yeah. It's like, for me, obviously I'm white.
I don't look like Mia. She don't look like Nina.
But like Nina and her family are like, most of my dolls are black dolls. And to me, I'm just like, it's just finding that character, finding that story, you know, finding the dolls that I personally connected with, and that, you know, ended up being the dolls that I have, were, you know, mostly black. Like, to me, it's just, you know, do whatever dolls make you feel inspired, make you feel creative. Just, you know, as long as people are respectful and open to feedback, if they get something wrong, being willing to, you know, learn and grow.
Like culturally wrong.
Yeah.
You know, not by
Yes.
intent.
Mm-hmm. Just going with, you know, what makes you happy.
What feels most special.
All dolls are beautiful, humans are beautiful, and, you know, whether that's a race or a sexuality or a disability or anything, you know, it's okay to, you know, do any doll that you would like to do.
I fully agree. I fully agree. And I'm glad that you ladies brought that up and that you were able to address the question that I gave. because like I said, this was posed, I do believe like on a Monday or a Tuesday, I saw the post and I was like, that shouldn't really, to me, that shouldn't really be an issue. But everyone else is, you know, they don't really think the same. And so that's one of the reasons why she had stated, you know, this is going to be my mini-me. And, you know, it had, you know, addressed that, you know, as far as anybody having an issue with it. So I felt that that didn't even need to be stated because it's her choice to, you know, have that as her mini-me. But in the same hand, I do believe that as creatives, we are sensitive. We are very sensitive. We want to make sure we don't offend anyone. And so I believe that that was one of her main things was, you know, I don't want to offend anyone, but this is the doll that I'm putting out there. But I do fully agree with you. We're all human. And, you know, as long as you're being respectful with it, there's nothing wrong with you putting a doll out there that you connect with. Because your connection is what's going to build your storylines, or you're doing fashion. That's what's going to help you to be able to, you know, put the correct fashion that that character wants on and really connect whenever you do your pictures. So I'm glad that you said that the way that you did. And anyone who's watching it, if that's something that you have a concern about as far as like what mini-me to have, like they said, put a mini-me into your community if that's the route that you're going, that you connect with. Because it's your storyline. It's your page, your account. Enjoy it.
It's absolutely way too easy to feel afraid of other people's judgment. It really shouldn't be, but it's very easy to. I mean, sometimes take it out in public, there'd be some stink eyes or something. It's like, you know, I can see why people are afraid to take their dolls out in public and everything, but it's really important that you don't. You know, just like you're not hurting anybody, you know, by doing what you're enjoying doing. You have to remember that this is giving you joy and it's all right. Some other people may not think the same, but it's okay. It's okay if other people don't like my makeovers or pictures, whatever I'm doing, I'm like, that's fine. Not everybody is going to like it. I understand that. They're all entitled to their own opinion. That's fine. I have peace with that. So I don't even go into anything expecting everybody, oh, everybody's going to love this or whatever. It's just whoever enjoys it, and I'm happy with that.
I agree. Well, I'm glad that you ladies agreed to join me today. But I have one last question. What made you do the joint birthday party? Was this the first time doing the joint birthday party? Oh, it was. What made you do it?
Just for fun. It sprung into my head as an idea one day. I'm like, hey, what do you think about doing? Because we realized their birthdays are like really close together. We've written down like the actual Barbie's birthdays because of course we have.
It's part of making your full character. We have birthdays, and so your character should have it. And that's how you're able to really visualize your character even more, as the more details that you put into your character. So I think that's perfect.
So I thought about like, hey, we could make this an event because I've never done one before. And I'm like, just because, why not? Let's try it. Let's have fun. So we did it. It was fun.
It's
It was fun.
wonderful to see everybody's pictures and what they did to join in, everything. That was very, very good opportunity for creativity and fun there.
And trying to reach out from being a little less of an introvert.
Well, next year, I know now you guys more than likely are you going to do another birthday party next year?
Possibly, or we'll come up with a different fun event for people to join up on. Just whatever comes to mind. We shall see in the future.
I understand. It's wherever the storyline takes you. But I do hope that you guys have another one. I know that you brought up that you were going to have the fall festival, correct? So we need to be on the lookout for fall festivals. I want to get my pictures together because I want to make sure I was able to bring up about your party and my storyline, but it wasn't like the way that I really envisioned it. But I had like an ongoing storyline going on, if that makes sense. I had an online storyline going on at the same time. And so I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to put this in there. But I was like, the next party that you guys have, I want to like devote my pictures to that. So as soon as I find out the date for your fall festival, my dolls will be joining and be very in tuned and fashionable. So I'm looking forward to it. Because you had your fall pictures last year and they were beautiful. I love the way, like I said, I love the way that you guys do your setups. It's always so very beautiful. Now, do you always work together during the summer, or do you work together during, like the fall and winter seasons as well?
She doesn't, she lives really far away. And
Okay.
so when she's here visiting, she absolutely helps. And it typically is summer because that is usually our nicest season until it's suddenly 90 degrees outside.
Yeah, this heat wave
Yeah.
has been horrible.
The fall festival is typically me and my parents, and we do planning way ahead of time. Mom and I will set up the entire setup in a room inside the house to know how to set it up outside, and we'll fill up all the displays. We'll take pictures of all the displays so that we have reference when we get there. And we're like, okay, this is this
Oh,
crate, this
wow.
is in this crate, and we do it in maybe 6 hours flat or something like that. We get it done because we're like, okay, all the stuff, get all set up. We do it quickly, as quick as we can, and it's a family event.
Wow. I like that. Well, I'm looking forward to your fall festival. When you do get the information and you post it, is it okay if I go ahead and repost it in my story so that everybody can know, like,
For sure.
get ready for it? Okay. So when you do get that, I will make sure to repost it. Like I said, I'm going to get my pictures together, and that way it'll fit right in with my storyline. And so I'm just really looking forward to what you ladies are doing. And again, I'm looking forward to your script. Once when you get that done, it's this year, 2 years from now, whichever way, I'm looking forward to. If you have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and ask that. I'm going to look through here. Like I know there was a lot of different conversations of people saying hi to you, and I wasn't able to address it. So I'm going to try to scroll and see did I miss anybody from a question that you have. But if you have any questions, please do ask it right now or comments. I see where it says family affair. And that was actually my mom who said that, because she's on here.
My mom might be watching too.
I texted your name earlier.
Oh yeah, she probably.
Watching, but my mom, she's in the next room watching. That's what they. And I've tried to get my mom and my aunt involved. Hello, Barbie. Wow. But they have not gotten involved at all yet. But my mother does buy, like I said, she enjoys buying the dolls for me. So she'll buy dolls. My husband will buy dolls. I'll buy dolls. But she has not gotten into having her own account. Not yet. Someone said, true big kid. I have a lot of my dolls from when I was a kid. Most of my dolls came from when I was around 10 or 11 years old. That's when I was allowed to get dolls. My dad was hard on me, but my nana used to buy me. Yeah, that does happen at times, as far as, getting into dolls a little bit later and not really by your own choice, but just kind of having that happen. Let's try to make sure we didn't miss any questions or anything of that nature. But I would advise you. Oh, there goes your mom. Your mom said, hey.
Hi, Mom. We'll see you.
But I would definitely advise you to go to Uncommon Dolls to be able to check out the beautiful page and storyline. If you already have it, follow her page. Also, you can go to her Etsy. And in your Etsy, you still have your donuts and your, I call them, what you have, like your, what do you call them? They're just like lemonade shakers or lemonade shakes.
Mason mug. I don't have anything in there currently. I'm hoping to get some sets out there, especially for the upcoming holiday. But for the time being,
Okay.
we don't get to see each other like a lot in real life. So I'm enjoying as much time as I can with her for the season. She's still going to be here for a little while. And while she's here, she can also order from me, which is very dangerous for her wallet, but she's having a good time.
I've been telling her I need to, when I edit my budget, revamp my budget, I need to put a line in there that's like just for human food, doll food.
But you want your dolls to have the best. You do. You want them to have the best. So when your shop is open again, they can go to Mia's Munchables. It was backwards. I know. I had someone ask me before about being able to flip it, but it's really hard to flip the screen on live. But I will put the information at the bottom of the post and just let them know whenever it's open again, they can go ahead and make those purchases because it's so worth it. Beautiful food, great quality,
Thank you.
and definitely looks good enough to eat. So
I would eat it, but I know it's just going to taste like a rock.
right? But it is so very good. I really do. These are beautiful. Just very, very beautiful. In fact, right after I get done with my pictures, or if I'm just, if I take them out and I play with them, with my dolls, I always wrap them right back in the bubble wrap that you have them in. And that's the other thing. When you do get them, I mean, just like perfectly wrapped as far as the, making sure that nothing happens to them. So I was very pleased with how they were, delivered, the quality of them. And that's why I said I'm definitely going to, when you reopen, I'm going to be buying some more of your goodies that you have. And then once when I get done, like I said, playing with them, I always put them right back into my wrap, into the bubble wrap, and I store it because I don't want anything to happen. These are very nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
They really are. So excellent, excellent. Well, if no one has any questions or comments, I want to thank you guys again for joining me today.
Thank you.
I had such a good time getting to know you and being able to learn as far as how you develop your storyline. And I really do hope that you have an excellent visit with each other.
Oh, we will. We have so far. Every time we do, we have lots of fun. We were very lucky to happen to meet each other on Star Wars online, and now we talk about every single day for like about 8 years.
Yeah. And I mean, that doesn't happen all the time. It really, really doesn't. But whenever you're able to connect on something like, when it comes to like a passion and interest, it makes it that much better because you're not having to meet someone and then say, oh, hey, I also like dolls, or, oh, hey, I like Star Wars. And the person, was really, they were pretty cool. And then you tell them what you like and they're like, oh, that's not what I like. And so I'm not going to say it's wasted time because it's not, because everything is a learning lesson. But it's like, oh, I thought we connected. But whenever you can connect right on the platform of interest, it makes it so much greater because I don't have to explain to you where my interests are or why this is so important to me because it's just as much important to you. And so you're able to really just vibe off of that. So what you have is very unique and it's very special. And I am glad that you guys are able to continue to connect, especially us as females. As you may know, we as females sometimes really butt heads and we find the smallest things to nitpick with each other on. And we miss out on the richness of true sisterhood and friendship and being able to develop something great. So I think that it's just awesome and special that you guys have connected and you're just exploring the wonders of of who we are creatively. So
we're having a lot of fun doing it too.
That's good. That's good. So we'll stay connected. And like I said, when you have the fall festival information, you post it, I'll go ahead and post that as well. And I'll put the information for your Etsy shop. This one fell down, but I'll put the information for your Etsy shop on the bottom of here. And whenever you have that open, I'll repost that as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And anytime you ladies want to contact me, you can. Oh, and I'll make sure to contact it's paranormal. I think it's Paranormal Dolls, or it's just Paranormal. I will contact her about what she did for the hips so that you guys can connect because we got to keep Uncle, keep him in good shape.
We love him. We must.
Yes. He has too much history. We got to keep him in good shape. So I will definitely make a mental note to contact her as well so you ladies can connect. You guys have a great Saturday.
You too.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.